Over the course of the last 2 years, I've been throwing my noggin at hard trophies and stupid challenges for the sake of your entertainment, and I thought, well, why not rank them all as a part of my 2nd anniversary for this channel? Now, I know I've assigned difficulty levels to each game I've covered throughout my entire tenure on this platform, but over time, I've really started to dial in the rating system, and thus some challenges have gone down in their difficulty ratings, and a couple have gone up. So let's hop back in time to December 2022, where I experienced the most disappointing thing since my birth. In hindsight, I was way too nice to this game, partly because I didn't really want to rock the boat when first starting out on YouTube. Now, I don't f***ing care. Game sucks. Back at launch, maximum security difficulty was more or less annoying if anything because enemies pre-patch 2.01 would attack you no matter what you're doing. They don't take turns like they do now. I only died 27 times, and for a game on its former max difficulty at launch, that's really easy. The one-shots were cheap at times, and hell, I didn't even die on the final boss. Honestly, the less said about this game, the better. So 2 out of 10, let's talk about Resident Evil 7. Now, Ethan Must Die is a game mode that I hold near and dear to my heart. Not just because it was my first well-performing video, but also because it is so incredibly satisfying to figure out the murder maze of the revamped Baker estate. For the Ethan Must Die mode, your objective is pretty simple. Survive, collect the key to the greenhouse, and beat Marguerite. However, throughout the Baker estate, you are constantly being chased by a bunch of silly goobers, and the items you collect from destructible boxes are randomized between each run. Sometimes, they even blow up too.
Oh, what's this?
Now, I think I was a little overhyping the difficulty on this one as I gave it a 6 out of 10. I mainly did this because I didn't have as much experience with really hard challenges. Now with more torturous experiences under my belt, I think I'd move this down to a 4 out of 10 because, again, this did not take that many attempts, and each attempt didn't push me to my absolute limits. But there are still a good handful of gotcha moments, which grant it the 4 out of 10. This game is so goated, bro. I get excited just thinking about it. That being said, I really wish this game was harder because damn, I did the permadeath mode on my first try. Unlike in Dead Space 2, there aren't that many threats in this game that can end your run. Well, except for the nuclear warhead room in the USM Valor, but you'd have to be a nutless monkey to f that up. Right. In comparison to the original, pretty much all the weapons in this game are pretty viable. Even the flamethrower, which you guys love to let me know to this day, is much better than what it once was. So what I once considered to be a 5 out of 10, I now consider to be a 3 out of 10. I'm gonna be honest, this was a filler video. Nothing about this platinum was hard, and I'll just say, I don't even remember editing or streaming this game. So let's give it a 1 out of 10 and move on. Back when we were all hyped and, let's be honest, scared about the Resident Evil 4 remake, Capcom released a demo that allows you to play the iconic intro village Onslaught. What many people didn't seem to know was that there was a secret randomly occurring mode that can be unlocked upon beating the demo called Mad Chainsaw Mode. What this essentially entails is that you're playing the demo on professional difficulty. Oh, and there's also a Super Sal instead of a bog standard Sal. This was really not hard. Again, I overhyped the difficulty of this in hindsight because, well, I had no comprehension of how much punishment a bald can handle quite yet. I only died 6 times, and most of my time spent with this mode was just trying to gain entry back into it. So, with all that said, this mode is going from a 6 out of 10 to a 4 out of 10. Now, let's get to the real shit. To think this was the second thing I ever recorded for this channel, it fills me with so much nostalgia. To break it down, I wanted to platinum Elden Ring for a video, but I knew just doing it normally wouldn't suffice since I'm kind of a Souls veteran. I've been playing Souls games since 2011, and so I decided it would be interesting if I did the platinum while doing the Rune Level 1 challenge, which basically means I don't use any runes to level up a single time during the entire run. This was hell. So many times throughout this process that I think that it was beyond my capabilities, but I stuck with it over the course of 2 weeks and eventually got that platinum without leveling. I'd say by far the hardest fights were Malekith, Placidusax, and Elden Beast, all for different reasons. Malekith, because of the destined death effect he can apply to you, which eats away at your health and limits your overall health, as well as him being a massive acrobatic pussy in armor. Placidusax, because one mistake over the course of a 7-minute fight is game over. And Elden Beast, because back when you couldn't use Torrent for the fight, you'd have to traverse across a continent in order to get 2 hits off, and then repeat said process for roughly 9 to 12 minutes. I firmly stand by my initial rating, as there were many bosses that you can cheese with the right amount of setup in the early game, and I personally think a 10 out of 10 should signify that the challenge was incredibly crushing across the entire game, no matter at what point you choose. So, Elden Ring remains a 9 out of 10. Saying Resident Evil 4 Remake is a good game is like saying Daniel Day-Lewis is a good actor. Like, no shit, dude. That being said, I recently played the original, and I've gotta say, I think I prefer it over the remake. My reasons for that opinion is because Ashley is way more consistent in behavior, and your guns actually feel responsive in comparison to the remake. Why am I saying that right now? Well, I think those 2 qualities alone are what make RE4 Remake's professional mode way more challenging than the OG's professional mode. With that said, I'd like to retroactively retract my former rating of a 5 out of 10 and bump it up to a 6 out of 10, because when I went for the S Plus professional run, which isn't required, but I did it anyway, so I'm going to rate my personal experience, okay? Stop typing. Stop it. Take your hands away from the keyboard. Stop it. Stop. That experience was so difficult that I had my shit pushed all the way back into my body and into my throat. It also doesn't help that I did the platinum for this game twice in 1 month, which meant I did 10 total playthroughs in a short amount of time, so I'm pretty burnt out on RE4 Remake, and to this day, I have not even played Separate Ways yet. But you know what isn't a game that I'm burnt out on? As a Dead Space 2 veteran, having platinumed the game both on the worldwide release and the German stack, because yes, you can get 2 Dead Space platinums on the same account, I felt as though I should really kick it up a notch if I were to cover this game on the channel. So what did I think to do? Do hardcore mode without any saves, of course. Oh, and also playing it on PC via keyboard and mouse, since that format of gaming was very new to me at the time.
What's the stomp button? What's the stomp button? I'm gonna slap the keyboard. What's the stomp button? It's not E. I don't know what I just pressed.
Hardcore mode is a game mode where you're only allowed 3 saves, resources you get are scarce, and enemies hit like Prime Tyson. And no surprise to anyone, this challenge turned out to be not really that difficult for me. However, this was the start of the Grayscott wall curse, so I suppose it did have some kind of lasting effect on me. So if I were to set my expertise aside and fairly rate this challenge, I think I hit it on the head the first time and maintain that Dead Space 2 Hardcore Permadeath is a 7 out of 10 in difficulty. Now for something a little more lighthearted. Jak and Daxter is my favorite game of all time, and so I made a bet with my chat that I could 100% it in under 6 hours. But about halfway through that challenge, 6 hours started to feel a bit free, so I moved it down to 5 hours to make things more interesting. I know, I was dropped on my head when I was a baby. This was a fun challenge to do, and you can actually still see the full run over on Twitch if you care to see it. Now, why did I originally give the challenge an RDR 2 out of 10? Well, it's very likely you didn't watch the video, and let's be honest, you didn't, and that's okay. Essentially, if I didn't beat the game in under 5 hours, I would have to re-platinum Red Dead Redemption 2 and make a video on it. As a matter of fact, I haven't forgotten about that, as I actually started right after this challenge was recorded. It's just that I had a hard drive corrupt on me, and so I lost all the footage I had of Red Dead Redemption 2 and of the first time I did the Crash Bandicoot Platinum. And I haven't felt like going back yet because I'm still a little salty. So 1 out of 10, this game sucks. Brutal Mode in Uncharted 1 is a difficulty level that I can pretty confidently say did not go through any form of QA over at Bluepoint, because holy shit is this difficulty level broken as f in some parts. Between the spawn traps, the bullets that can bend 90 degrees, terrible checkpoints, and Last of Us ammo drops, this was a pretty unpleasant experience. But in some masochistic way, I would be lying if I said I didn't have fun at times. So with most of the game consisting of gunfights more than any other Uncharted game, there were many times where I had to bang my bald against the wall until either the sheetrock gave way or my skull turned to powder. Beyond that, there's not much to talk about in this game since it's a pretty straightforward action-adventure game. So I'd say the 7 out of 10 rating still stands because while it is grueling at times, it is absolutely possible with the right amount of mental fortitude. My most controversial video, and with a title like that, it's hard not to see why. This game is actually a large reason as to why I wanted to make this video, as some people have gotten on my nerves about Mein Leben, which apparently is the correct pronunciation, as you have all made me painfully aware of in the comment section since release. So for the rest of the video, I'm going to proceed to pronounce it in increasingly incorrect ways because I love you guys so much. So Mein Leben is a permadeath difficulty where you can die in a non-reactable amount of time, and there's also no saving, so essentially you have to beat it in one sitting. However, some of you have pointed out in increasingly passive-aggressive ways that you can put your PS4 or PS5 in rest mode to get around the one sitting portion of the trophy, but the thing that's wrong with that is that you could have a power outage or your game crashes and oops, your game is gone. That would suck, wouldn't it? So you might as well do it in one go, huh? And honestly, it's kind of a lot to ask of someone to be on point for multiple days in a row, whereas you could just be on point for one day and get it over with. I don't know, maybe I'm just talking crazy. There have also been a few people pointing out how, of course, it would be easy if you just use skips and glitches to get past difficult portions of the game. And to that I say, yeah, no shit. The point of the video was to show that anyone is capable of finishing Mein Leben and to provide as many shortcuts and pieces of advice for those who may need it in one comprehensible and entertaining video. It's literally the gist of what I said in the first 2 minutes. Okay, now that I've gotten all of that off my chest, let's get back to fun times with Scott the Twat, shall we? Mein Leben is honestly very fun to learn the ins and outs of, even when you're just getting absolutely to shreds. Roswell and Venus are the two tests to see if you are truly worthy of earning the Man Librarian trophy, as they have sections where if you even make one mistake, it is right back to the beginning you go. So with all the strats that I provided in the video that you can still do to this day, I still maintain that my labia is an 8 out of 10. The evil within the game design. How I treated you so poorly at first. How cynical I was. This game is such a masterpiece in comedy gold when playing on AKUMU difficulty. Like, look at this.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay. Let me guess, it's gonna kill me if I hit it too many times? Yep.
For the uninitiated, AKUMU is a difficulty mode where any point value of damage will kill you, no matter what it is. Thankfully, this isn't a permadeath mode, because if it was, I'd probably be in a straitjacket talking to a wall right now. I fully stand by Snam when saying this difficulty is unironically the best way to play the evil within, because everything feels like an actual threat and is horrifying, which makes you think of creative solutions for genital twisting situations. The crossbow is going to be your best friend through this playthrough, as without it, I'd probably give this difficulty a 10, but since that's not the case, I still feel pretty confident in giving AKUMU an 8 out of 10. Like how men regularly think about the Roman Empire, my first experience with Silent Hill 2 will stick with me forever as I think back on the whole platinum journey almost every day since. This game truly remains to be special to me for not just the music, the ambience, Maria's codfish AI, but for the hardest trophy in the game, which is for getting the green spray. Getting said item requires you to complete a 10-star run, and to that you may ask, what's a 10-star run? Well, It's a lot of shit, and I don't really want to explain it all because it's about as long as a Kingdom Hearts title, so go watch the video. I still maintain that my struggles with getting the 10-star run are equivalent to that of Rune Level 1 Elden Ring simply for the fact that everything in this game hits so hard on hard combat. If I didn't have bullet adjust on for the 10-star playthrough, I'm not so sure I would be looking back on this experience so fondly. So yeah, I still think that this game is a 9 out of 10 in the form of difficulty, and honestly I'd probably do it all over again on the Enhanced Edition for PC. RE5's professional difficulty is pretty difficult, even with fully upgraded equipment, and that's exacerbated by playing this game solo because your partner AI might as well be piloted by an infant. I'm not joking when I say this may be the hardest difficulty I've experienced in an RE game, as you can die very quickly. Also, for either you or your partner to be revived, you basically have to be right next to each other. And holy Ouroboros, dude. Gun enemies are insufferable on higher difficulties in this game.
Oh. What the fuck?
With that said, I think I was a little too easy on this game when rating its difficulty. Granted, I used the infinite launcher, so it made things really easy. So I'd like to up the difficulty of this game from a 4 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10. Beat Saber's trophy list truly is the ultimate guide into getting addicted to swinging your arms around like a spastic maniac. Watching my journey from barely getting A ranks on hard difficulty and growing to consistent double S ranks on expert difficulty is so incredibly satisfying. And it's all because this game has a very engaging power creep with how the trophies force you to play. And as the devs continually update it, the easier I found the platinum to become, due to the note tracks being much more natural in their flow in comparison to OST Volumes 1 and 2. So with that, I'd like to drop Beat Saber's difficulty rating from an 8 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10. We're starting to enter the realm of things being so recent to where my opinion hasn't changed, so I'll keep these brief. A lot of Stardew Valley's trophy list is about juggling between different activities across the 4 seasons, but honestly, trying to do that sucks out a lot of what makes this game special, in my opinion at least. This game is much better when experienced at your own pace. However, what makes this trophy list difficult is the Fector's Challenge Trophy, which is for completing the Journey of the Prairie King arcade game without dying. This was one of the most toxic things I have ever done on the channel. It's so bad that even Eric Barone, creator of Stardew Valley, has gone on record saying that he regrets making this an achievement/trophy for the game, which is saying something. So thankfully, in update 1.5, there was a feature in the game that allows you to quit in the middle of a session, save, and go back to the arcade game. And if you die, you can just restart your day and the death won't count. Even with this very helpful feature, the last couple of levels are much like a pixelated cholecystectomy. So with the feature from 1.5 coming into play, I'd still give Stardew Valley a 7 out of 10. I just made this video, so I'm going to keep all of the Outlast rankings short. For Outlast 1 and Whistleblower on PlayStation, you only have to complete the games on insane difficulty in order to earn the hardest trophy available for both trophy sets. What insane difficulty entails is you die in 2 hits from normal enemies, 1 hit from bosses, there is no saving, you get minimal batteries, and a battery charge is very short, so you have to use them sparingly. Oh, and also, it's permadeath, by the way. Outlast 1 had a couple of tricky sections, but overall the game boils down to memorization as the AI is like a good boyfriend. It's very consistent. So I maintain that Outlast 1 is a 5 out of 10. And despite the crashes, Whistleblower is a 3 out of 10. This game sucks. 8 out of 10. Okay, fine, I'll talk about this game, but only for a little bit. Outlast 2 is like a dementor, dude. It just sucks all the fun and life out of you the longer you're exposed to it. Like Outlast 1, all the same rules apply in terms of the insane difficulty. However, Red Barrels did not let PlayStation players get off the hook this time, as we must experience the toenail jamming of a trophy titled Messiah. For Messiah, you not only have to beat the game on insane difficulty, but you also have to do it while not reloading your battery for the entire 3 to 4 hour runtime of this game, and most of it looks like this. I cannot express to you how much this game will make you miserable, as there are about 40 to 50 minutes of unskippable cutscenes, enemies teleport to you if you're too far away from where they're wandering, and one thing I actually forgot to point out in the video is that certain cutscenes automatically turn on your night vision, which wastes your battery, so if you forget to manually turn off your night vision during those moments, that's precious battery life that you'll lose out on. If you like this game, we can't be friends. So, 8 out of 10, let's move on. Outlast Trials is a very good game in its own right, which is why it's such a shame that the trophies are reduced to very bland and tedious badges that you get in-game. There is seriously so much untapped potential in this game in the case of making tasks into trophies, like getting an A+ on all trials in core therapy and such. The only thing that's even remotely challenging is the can't touch this trophy, which is for completing 10 trials without getting damaged, and even that is pretty easy. So yeah, 2 out of 10. Great game, but disappointing trophy list. I am still baffled at how awful the marketing was for this game and how incredible the final product came to be. Now, unlike the original's trophy list, this game's list is very sanitary, which in some ways is a nice break, and in other ways leaves a lot more to be desired. So to get the challenge that I was seeking, I decided to make the as close as you like trophy way harder than necessary. For this trophy, you must complete the game by using melee weapons only, and instead of doing it with the chainsaw, which practically one-shots everything, I did it with the Sunderland wood and pipe duo. Oh, and I did it all on hard combat. If doing the melee only trophy like this was required, I'd definitely give this game a higher ranking, but since it's not, I'ma stick with saying Silent Hill 2 Remake's challenge difficulty is a 3 out of 10. And that's everything that we've covered on the channel over the last 2 years. However, I feel compelled to tell you the tales of some of my greatest challenges over the last 14 years of my trophy hunting experience. So let's start with... I got both this game's platinum and the free version to 100%, and it took a full month of non-stop gaming to get. This was also my 100th platinum trophy, so it was not only special to me for that reason, but also because I love Final Fantasy so much. You guys will never truly understand what this series means to me. That being said, the main reason why I give this platinum such a high difficulty rating is because the Guardian of Divine Will trophy, which is for beating Shinryu on hard difficulty. Holy chaos, dude. It took me days to beat this fucker because he can just spam massive hitboxes and you just have to sit there and take the colon pounding like a good warrior of light. Beyond that, everything else is pretty straightforward and just really grindy, so 7 out of 10. I do not think this game is as hard as most people make it out to be. I really think that Black Ops 4 is the harder platinum, hell, maybe even COD Classic. For one, the veteran no death medal sounds scary, but this is a game where you can literally be invisible and spawn little drones to go take out every enemy in the area safely from behind cover. Also, the Draken is pretty strong. Realistic difficulty isn't so bad as well, save for the first mission at the very end. That took a lot of time to do. But outside of that, this trophy list is just grindy, and I think that's what makes it so rare. So I would give Black Ops 3 a 7 out of 10. For those who don't know, I've been playing guitar and bass for 10 years. I am self-taught. I've never taken any lessons. I've taken classes in school, but those were for credits, and I mainly goofed off in each session. And the professors would let me since they knew I knew everything they were teaching. I am not exaggerating when I say these games have a pretty difficult set of trophies solely because of these Guitarcade trophies. For those who aren't informed, let me break it down for you. Guitarcade is a game mode that houses many games for you to engage in learning guitar techniques in a more gamified way. There are mini games for bending strings, doing harmonics, tremolo picking, a bunch of stuff. It is not hyperbole when I say the giant trophy in Rocksmith Original is single-handedly one of the most frustrating trophies I have ever gone for in my life. Third to only 2 other trophies, which I will discuss in just a little bit. For the giant trophy, you must get 2 million points in the Big Swing Baseball minigame, which is a minigame that requires you to hit a note right on time with the metronome, but it simply doesn't work like how it's advertised. I'm seriously convinced the code for this minigame is held together by scotch tape and glitter glue, because holy shit, when I hit the note it tells me to, it's a coin toss on whether or not it actually fucking works. I'm gonna stop there because I can feel the I can feel the white hot bald monster take over. So 9 out of 10 for both of these. Let's get on to Wargroove. Wargroove is a tactics-based indie game, and it is so good. Please, if you like Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem, or Advance Wars, you're gonna feel right at home here. This game's trophy list has you explore pretty much everything it has to offer, and it's very fun. Until it isn't. You see, the Super Strategist trophy requires you to S-rank every campaign mission. To S-rank, you need to play on hard difficulty, beat each mission in a very tight amount of turns, and to not use checkpoints when missions can go as long as 40 minutes. You could watch guides, but it's not guaranteed the AI is going to respond like how they do in the video. With all that said, if you're determined, this is a very nice platinum trophy to have, and I do completely stand by calling this a 9 out of 10 difficulty rating. My hardest platinum I've ever gotten. My 200th platinum, a gamer playing an athletic game. Go figure. The AI in this game legit cheats. Like there's no other way of putting it. When trying to get 600 stars in Champions Cup, you must play beyond perfection. In order to get 600 stars, you must reach a certain par score per level in each event. Now, you don't have to do every single event across all the cups in order to achieve this, as there are more than 600 stars in total, but that doesn't stop the game from being unfair. Gladiator Duel, straight up, doesn't work and requires you to just flail your arms around like a pterodactyl and hope you don't clear your shelves around you. Archery will get you very close to looking like a charger from Left 4 Dead. Beach volleyball wishes it was as good as Dead or Alive Extremes volleyball. The physics in that game are also unmatched. Bocce wakes up the demon that resides within me. Table tennis? And disc golf, which is actually kind of fun to play at a high level in the game. Yeah, this game put me in the deepest, darkest hole possible with how much it pushed me, but I am glad to have it in my collection. And I can more than confidently say it is a 10 out of 10. And that covers everything regarding challenges from my main account and videos I've made in the last 2 years. I know I was gone for a long time during 2024 on the YouTube space, but I was in fact recording and streaming on Twitch during that time, and I have a lot of projects lined up for the first half of this year, and with that, I'd like to tease what's to come in the future. I don't want to give away what's exactly coming in the future, but in my time away, I recorded a 2 out of 10, a 3 out of 10, a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, and finally, for the first time, I have recorded my first 10 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching my videos over the last 2 years. I have so many ideas I would like to create, so I hope to share more of my journeys with you in the future. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, stay safe and healthy, and always remember, eat ass forever.